welcome to another episode in our Mailbag series, loosely revolving around Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I'm Adam, and with me today are Dave and Megan and Dan.
Hi.
Dan, why the fuck are you here?
It's my house.
He lives here.
Get the fuck out of here. We're recording this. You are not on the schedule.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, guys. Have fun.
Bye, Dad.
Jesus fuck.
It was nice to see you.
All right, so the way that this works is 3 dungeon masters sit down with 3 D20 tables full of questions that have been sent into us. Now, we have an issue in the past, we've gone through this, because whenever we don't get to a question, we carry it over until the next episode. So sometimes when we roll on these and it is random, we end up with questions that were asked 2.5 years ago that we've just never gotten around to.
It's like a timestamp.
Yeah, and then we're like, oh, hey, this person from Instagram, and they've since changed their handle, so that doesn't exist anymore. Like, the whole thing's a mess. Anyway, we're committed to it, so here we are. So the idea here is that I've separated them all out now, so that we've got the red table, because we have black, white, and red dice, because what's black and white and red all over? This tables. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So there was originally a joke, but it was like 3 years ago, and I don't remember what the punchline was for it.
I also feel like this should have had a punchline that made more sense, but that's fine.
So I got 90% of the way there and then failed.
Try.
So I've put on the red table all of the usual suspects. So these are the questions that we get from the regular people that are always asking us. But Pepperina and Alexander Another Skip Davis and Spidey Rich, they're all on this table. These are the ones that we consistently run into 15 of their questions every episode.
How do they still have questions for us? Like, I feel like they know us better than we know ourselves at this point.
Because some people listen to what we have to say.
Oh.
We don't, which is just, it makes it interesting.
So it's mostly judgmental questions of why we say the things that we say.
I hope so.
Okay.
To be fair, I'm not listening to them either. All right, so
Perfect.
Then we have the black table, which is everything from Instagram and our email. And then we've got the white table, which is everything that came in from Reddit and YouTube. So there are a number of different questions on here. Some of them are D&D and technical. Some of them are just completely bizarre. We will answer anything you send in. So send in your questions to any one of the areas where you can reach us through Facebook, Instagram, our email, which is info@itsamimic.com, our subreddit, which is r/itsamimic, or you can jump into our YouTube page and be one of those people that leaves horrible, horrible comments that I have to sift through.
Oh, I've yet to look at Reddit. I don't know.
Oh no, Reddit's great. Those
Is it?
people are fine.
Good
Like,
folks?
the
Okay.
Reddit people are okay
Yeah,
for now.
except for that Jeff guy. Anyway, so we're going to roll. We're going to do 20 questions by the time that we're done this. We each have a different table in front of us. We each have a die that is a corresponding color with it. But you can choose which table you want to roll on. These are just, we'll each read out from the one table in front of us. So
Okay.
let's roll initiative, though, to see who's going to ask the first question.
Okay. 14.
Crit fail.
Yeah, all right. So Dave's going last. So, Megan, which table would you like to roll on? And then choose that die and roll it.
Well, let's start off with our fan faves on the red table.
I wouldn't call them faves, but, I mean, they keep talking to us. So there you go.
10. Spidey Rich asks, what's your favorite lore not in the books?
Favorite lore?
Yeah, D&D lore that's not in the 5th edition stuff, so it would have come from previous editions.
Oh, that's shit I don't know. I'm a bad person to ask lore questions to begin with.
Well, hey, look, we said we'd answer them. We didn't say they'd be good answers. All right, so...
Well, I mean, there's a lot of lore we all play the same game. There's a lot of lore from that game. It's not published. So there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, it's homebrew.
Everything homebrew that no one else who's listening knows what it is.
Look, if they're listening to this podcast, they've heard Dan reference it without context for the last, 2.5 years.
That's true.
I'd say probably my favorite piece of lore that is not in the 5th edition books is the fact that mind flayers, they come from the far realms, but they also come from outer space. And so in theory, the world of Toril planet, the 5th edition, or that Forgotten Realms exists in, is actually a planet and not just one of these flat Middle Earth realms that exists in most places. I think Eberron's the only other one that's a spherical planet.
Yeah.
And then whatever Spelljammer gives us. But it's the fact that all of the cosmos and whatnot are technically out in space as well. So these are realms. And you know how Asgard is a planet, but it's also just a realm.
A floating barge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe. It makes me think that the far realms are like that too, where they're just poorly defined, and there's just beholders from space.
All I could picture in my head when you said that mind flayers were from space was with that Martians from Mars or whatever it was, with the aliens that come down. They have like their brains in their little those. Yes, thank you.
Oh, Mars attacks.
Mars attacks. That's it. Yeah.
Don't run. We are your friends.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all. Now every time I see a mind flayer in a game, that's all I'm going to think about now.
That is one of my secretly low-key favorite movies. I absolutely love it. Dave, what's your favorite piece of lore?
I'm not sure I know a lot of lore outside of the main books, but I know that Exploring Eberron is just chock full of Eberron lore and history, and it's not technically a real 5th edition published by Wizards book.
Well, are you an expert on Eberron or something?
I know
A thing or two? Okay.
I spent some time there.
In my head, there are 3 unofficial, semi-official books, and it is Exploring Eberron because it was written by the creator of Eberron, but it was published by a third party. The Tal'Dorei campaign setting, which is technically in the same realm as the Wildmount book that Wizards released, but it was published by Matt Mercer. And then the Matt Colville book, Strongholds of Followers, which is getting a sequel. I think the Matt Mercer one is getting a sequel too. There's another Tal'Dorei book coming.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So there are some books out there that's got some pretty neat lore in it. Of them all, though, I think Exploring Eberron is probably my favorite.
I'm going to say the book a la Adam. No.
All right, I'm going to grab the white die.
All right.
I rolled an 8.
8.
What do we got?
Groundbreaking top 33 from Reddit says, Adam.
Oh, fuck. I don't like it when they're specifically like
Calls
targeted
you
at
out.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you or would you ever share your world, Bible, in quotations, with the fans? It sounds pretty profound with the 2 or so times I've heard it mentioned on the episodes.
Yeah, we've talked in the past about building pantheons and whatnot, and I really did. I created an 80-page freaking Bible that my players have never read except for Dan, and never will, and that's perfectly fine.
Was that what you sent out at the beginning of the last campaign that we played?
Yeah.
Oh, I still have a binder of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So there's I would love to do that. You know how we do Touring the Multiverse series, and we're slowly working it up into doing the next round after Eberron. I think when we get 3 or 4 deep, I'm going to pull apart about 8 episodes away from that and do my own. I'm just going to dedicate 8 episodes of my own pantheon in there just out of the fucking blue so that I can describe it to someone and see if they can make sense of it. Because the Bible is absolutely full of the repetitive has thou kind of language and
As thist and thou'st.
Oh yeah, and
Whomst.
So you're gonna go full on D&D televangelist here?
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But the Bible that I wrote was, I never liked the idea that there were all of these gods and they were proven to exist. You've met Corellon, you've met Mordrin, you've met Orcus, and like all of the big names. Like Orcus isn't really a god, but he is sometimes. Vecna exists. You have bumped into this guy in D&D, but they're contemporaries of Thor as far, and like Anubis and whatnot, as far as the player's handbook is concerned. That doesn't sit right with me. I'm like, why are there all of these different gods from all these different pantheons? And it's sloppy too. Like, this guy's just the god of war, but the dwarves have a god of war, and so do the orcs. Don't think about it. They're all gods of war. We have domains. There are only 12. But then we released another book, so there's 13 now. But the earlier books will not. There's only 12.
That one doesn't
Right.
count,
Yeah,
though, so it's still 12.
It only counts. Oh, and in Eberron, the domains aren't really domains. They're more of basic ideals, but this god is the equivalent of this god, even though this one's a god of death and that one's a god of flowers. I'm like, okay, listen, fuck. How do we make all of this make sense? And so I came up with the hierarchy in my head, and I'm like, fine, I'm gonna fix it. I'm making my own headcanon on this. So
I feel like you need now an encyclopedia of all the kinds of flowers that are in your world and the different kinds of trees.
I don't need another druid at my table.
I would read that.
I would read that book, though.
Yeah.
Give me that survival companion.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay. This will be my next project. I will have it make sense. Like, I want you to know that you will no longer be rolling survival checks. I'm going to be like, oh, there's a light blue flower with that faces the southeast. It has 7 petals and 6 red thorns.
I mean, it only blooms once every 17 years.
Yeah, and it's directly in front of you. What do you do?
I eat it.
You make the barbarian eat it. Oh shit, I'm the barbarian.
Here, eat this.
Shit.
All right, Dave, what do you got?
Oh, we haven't done the black table. 12.
12. The user TravestyDiner from Reddit asks, what are your thoughts on a Warlock version of Divine Intervention? Can Warlocks commune with their patron, or is it more of a one-way relationship?
Oh, it's a one-way relationship. Your patron gets to decide what happens. You don't.
I don't even feel like it's not direct intervention at all. This is a memo from the CEO.
Yeah, it's like actually like addressed to you, proper like citation with like subject lines and everything.
Like send to all, right?
Yeah.
And it just ended up in your inbox. And by the way, now you can cast another cantrip, right? Like that's.
And if you accidentally hit reply all, it's not going to go to your Patreon. It's going to go to everybody else though.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. The thing about Warlock patrons is. I got beef with this because all of the really high-powered fae that we've been given and like genies and whatnot and the fathomless, they're not high. By the time that you are level 12, you've outpaced your patron. It feels weird to me.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about that a few times on Warlock episodes where it feels weird that you are now suddenly more powerful than what you gain your powers from.
Yeah, and now that they've got like draconic gifts that they've given us in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons as well, there's no like dragon warlock patron. And as much as you can have a dragon god that you pray to, like Bahamut or Tiamat, for a cleric, there's now a third way that you can just get boons and gifts from a fucking powerful magical being out there. And I'm like, I just wish it was streamlined. And this doesn't even include all of the tiefling, ASMR, Genasi, bloodline shit, or the
Dark emo character nonsense.
yeah, or just like with the bloodline shit for sorcerers, right? Like there's so many ways to just get power accidentally.
All right, I got to level with you. I know who TravestyDiner is, and it's one of my players who plays a warlock. The answer is no. We've discussed this. Okay? Like, just throwing that out there.
The answer is no. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna roll on the black table again.
That is a 2. Colton Adrian asks, just listen to the D&D movie episode, and it raised a question for Dan. Glad we kicked him out.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Dan.
I'll answer for him.
Yeah. Now playing the part of Daniel is Megan. Have you not seen Rick and Morty Season 4, Episode 3, One Crew Flew Over the Crewcoo's Morty? Also, why do you bother Adam?
Hold on. Is that why do you bother, comma, Adam? Or why do you bother Adam?
There's no comma. Why do you bother
Hold on.
Adam?
You made this table. You could have removed it.
Why do you or just added that sentence in there.
Okay, so Megan, I guess, have you not seen Rick and Morty Season 4, Episode 3, One Flew Over the Crewcoo's Morty?
Absolutely not. However, I have watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie. And it's a piece of artistry.
That's one word for it.
Prove me wrong.
I actually sat down with you, Adam, and we watched the movies just before you did that, and I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't watch Rick and Morty. I did.
You also didn't listen to the episode. So the idea was that we sat down and talked about how we would make our own episodes or our own movies in that episode, and Dan wanted to do a heist movie, and so this is a direct reference to Dan and I argued about whether or not a heist movie would be good for a D&D movie or if it should be deeper or more epic, so we went off about that. So Colton Adrian is like, hey, there was a heist episode of Rick and Morty. Have you seen that?
Well, I mean, the first Dungeons and Dragons movie had the heisty go to the maze and find. I mean,
there's always a get the gem.
Yeah.
It's a part of D&D to break into the dungeon to get the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like
Kill it and get it stuff.
and everyone just around the table is like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, 2 words. Time heist.
Time heist. Is that just stealing time? Are you just stealing watches from people?
Let's not eliminate anything.
I like clocks.
All right.
Excuse me. Never mind.
Did you say clogs?
That's
See how I steered that to rated G? I'm going to roll a die now. That is a 12 on the red table.
Spidey Rich again. What is your favorite mini you own, and what is one you've always wanted?
I don't know about... Oh, okay, so they have a pirate ship mini, which is not a freaking mini. It is a big-ass pirate ship that would, like, take up the majority of your freaking table. It's, like, hundreds of dollars, and I so desperately fucking want it. but we just wrapped our pirate campaign, which is when I was looking at buying that. And I had a freaking piggy bank ready to go. I'm just like, I'm saving up money. I'm going to get this. One day I'm going to drop it in the middle of the table and just blow everybody's minds. And then we never got it. But I did buy the other mini that was going to be a part of this big epic battle. And that was the Kraken mini, which I think is my favorite because it comes with all the different tentacles that can pop up at different points on the map. And like, I fucking love I just like Krakens.
We fought that thing, didn't we?
You fought it, yeah.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, you fought it underwater, which was its own unique wonder. If you guys didn't have a water genasi water druid,
we'd have died many times in that campaign, 100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, do you guys collect minis at all?
I haven't ever played with minis. We used to use a battle map on the wall, like one of those like Chess X Sweater Race things, and I used to use cardboard or like Bristol board cut out with like sticky tack to move stuff around on it. And draw
that's
on.
Cute.
So I really got I let my guys make their own square because the grid they had their own
tile.
So they got to make their own design their own way, which was great. So they could kind of see where they were from a distance. But all of mine were the same, and I used number 1 a lot. The tile marked number 1.
Yeah.
We had like 1 through 10, and then like A through M, right?
Yeah.
So 1 was my favorite.
Yeah.
But we did a one-off where actually, strangely enough, they fought a Kraken, and I got to make my own, which was just a 4x4, piece of paper.
Gargantuan, yeah.
But I got the tentacles as well to come out and stuff, so that was a lot of fun.
Can you imagine doing that with the 3D? Like, have you seen the Kraken mini?
Yeah, I used to sit in the corner there.
Yeah. So, Megan, do you have a favorite mini?
So I don't necessarily collect them. I just have a mini for every character I've ever played.
It's funny though because you don't even like hero forge them. You're just like, which one of these pre-existing minis in the box?
Close enough. And I think in our last campaign, like Cora didn't get a mini until like the last, like a mini specifically to her character until the last like 4 weeks of that campaign.
Yeah.
I played with like a dummy blonde-haired paladin one. I'm like, close enough. There you go.
Yeah.
But like I do have one particular one that I love, and I'll give a shout out to one of my old friends who actually made it for me. I used to we played in a Japanese style 5th edition D&D, but I played a cleric who was part Oni, so she was a demon.
Yeah, cool.
And so that kind of a mini is very hard to find. It's very specific.
Yes.
So we found a classic like cleric style holding a staff kind of thing, and then he actually like molded it and used putty to give it a different like staff and different hair and different features and stuff like that to actually match my character, and then painted it. And it's one of those really nice like metal ones, so you could kill someone with it. Like
I don't have any metal minis, and I so desperately want them.
That's the only one that I have is that one. I will cherish it forever.
I will say this: it's not my favorite mini, but you guys have all collectively really let me down. All my D&D players, which you two are some of them, because this campaign that we're in now. We're like 3-4 months into it, and I said, all right, everybody go to Hero Forge. We're going to print out these minis. And not one of the 6 fucking players did it. But I did. And I have a mini of myself holding a D20 and a book in the 2 hands that I'm just like waiting to bring to the table. But none of you guys have minis. I'm like, fine, you're just going to sit in the fucking...
Here's
collecting
the issue.
Dust.
Here's the issue with Mirror Forge as a whole. I cannot make a decision. Like I just can't. I've actually remade that character multiple times because I keep thinking of what it could be in the future, not necessarily what she is right now.
That's why you get like 7 of them. We have a 3D printer.
We have the technology.
We can rebuild her.
But yeah, so I can't make decisions. That's my problem. I just sit there and stare at it and be like, I don't like it. And then I move on.
We still have to introduce Dave to what a computer is. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Computer.
Fuck. All right, roll a die.
6.
You're talking to yourself now.
Spidey Rich again.
This is why we put them all on one table. Otherwise, we would have rolled 6 Spidey Rich questions at this point.
Best school of magic. Evocation. I like blowing stuff up. It's just that easy.
I like enchantment.
Enchantment's the most evil.
Yeah. we've talked about it many times.
That tracks.
Yeah.
It really fits. It really suits. Because like you would think the destroying thing for me, but no, I like the evocation. The enchantment stuff. I like the mind kerfuckery.
I gotta say that necromancy is probably my favorite, just because it's not only a bunch of damage and a bunch of raising shit from the dead, but it's also a lot of your healy stuff. And the game would just suffer without it. You can do damage without evocation. You can charm people without enchantment. I mean, it's rare, but it exists. You can't really heal people without necromancy.
You can't really raise the dead without necromancy.
No, not so much. There are some Healy ways to do it, but necromancy, I'll tell you the worst is conjuration. I just, keep your fucking 10 rats off the table. Stop summoning creatures.
Yeah.
Summoners are the bane of my existence.
As
I
a
don't
DM,
like
yeah.
any of them. Guppy.
The answer is no.
I want you to know, for those of you listening, Guppy is one of Dave's players. It's not that someone is summoning guppies onto the battlefield.
Do not give him ideas.
Idea given.
Just
you banked
rains
that one.
tiny fish. Yeah.
Oh, my land.
Megan, roll a die.
All right, I'm gonna roll on my own white dice. What is that? ATM. Jay from YouTube says, and I will say it's just a J.
It was just a J. Yeah.
Well done.
Bummed this episode 111 Skeleton Mobs is the last undead focused episode. Any chance of covering intelligent undead like ghouls, ghasts, wights, and mummies?
Okay, so I have some insight on this. The idea with the undead was that, so you know how we do every 7 episodes as a dragon episode?
Yeah.
We were about to wrap up all the dragon episodes. We covered everything dragons in 5th edition. We had, I think, 2 left. And by the time that this episode comes out, we will have aired the last one. And then Fizban's Treasury of Dragons came out and revitalized that whole series. So there's another, we're going to double that. The idea was it was going to turn into Undead. So that's why we haven't touched on them in any of the portfolios, and we've only done a couple of mobs with it. Undead is coming. We just don't know what format it's going to be in or what show. We're eventually going to run out of subclasses and playable races.
It's true.
These are going to have to transition into new kinds of shows, new focuses that we're going to hit once every 7 episodes. So Undead are coming. It's just that, honestly, everybody already knows what a vampire stat block looks like. If you're interested in liches, you've looked them up. We've already covered zombies, and I mean, the ghosts versus specters versus poltergeists versus shadows, that's an interesting conversation to have.
That's a good Halloween episode, I think.
Well, and maybe they should be Halloween episodes, but we've already committed Warlock Patrons to that nonsense for a while now.
Yeah.
Which is actually when we summoned intern Dave into existence. if I remember
Hello.
correctly. So, we talked about, do you not remember this? We talked about intern Dave being a member of the It's a Mimic podcast for 25 episodes.
I just remember Coffee Bitch Dave.
Well, and then suddenly Dave appeared, but it was on the Great Old Ones Warlock Patron episode.
Yeah.
So I literally did the Cthulhu chant, and then Dave appeared.
Oh.
And so we
You
summoned.
can tell by all the tentacles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad this is not a visual platform.
Yeah.
whose turn is it to roll this shit? Okay, that's me.
yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll on the white table. I rolled a 1. Womp womp.
Well, on my table?
Yep.
Oh, on the white dice table? Bloody One from Reddit asks, Homebrew setting, campaign ends and it's completely destroyed. Impossible to be used after the events of the campaign. You and your table decide to abandon the setting. Do you import NPCs, organizations, or lore to a new homebrew, or everything in there is barred from touching your table?
Depends on how it died.
Yeah.
If you are rewriting reality, if this is a, how can I put this? What has rewritten reality? So nobody has seen this show, but the show Fringe is one of my favorites. It's solid, and at the end of season 3, they wipe a character from existence as if he never appeared at all in the series whatsoever. At which point it changes the entire series and the entire world, and every interaction that he's had never existed in the past. But all of the outcomes still existed. So, you're playing with reality warping at that point. If that's how you ended your world, because the world that he was in doesn't exist anymore, then yes, you can play with these pieces. But if you just destroyed everything and broken it all down and whatnot, I mean, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons told us that the multiverse exists. Dragons are now aware of their counterparts in other realities. Mm-hmm. This dragon that exists in Eberron is aware of its counterpart that exists in the Forgotten Realms. They're both aware of the counterpart that exists in Greyhawk, and so on and so forth. And if dragons become powerful enough, they get this dragon sense.
Yeah.
So, multiverse exists. In theory, you could have alternate versions of, but I would never have it be the exact same NPC. We do this with Bernard the Bard.
I was going to say, Bernard the Bard shows up in every one of my campaigns.
Yeah.
But is
everyone.
it slightly different, like every time, or is it that person?
No, he is different. I mean, sometimes he'll show up as like a level 1 guy singing in a bar, never does anything. Other times he's a level 20, shows up and like
Quest giver kind of
Murder
shit.
somebody, yeah, absolutely.
no, it intervenes when they make poor decisions.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
It's like Clippy.
yeah,
It's like your version of Clippy.
exactly.
It looks like you're trying to send a pigeon. Are you sure you would like to do that?
Or do you want to write a memo instead?
Our group has a few of those. Like even from one of the who's now a player, when he was DMing, we've got players that he has that we import in as well. So we don't really import world, but certainly names.
I also feel like there's so much fucking magic. There's no reason why something didn't figure out a way to get out of a world that was under destruction. Like, your group of heroes is not the only group that knows how to do a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and like, I don't know. I feel like I would, if there was somebody or a part of a world that I absolutely loved and I feel like I would want to reuse, there are 1,000 ways you could definitely find to make it and put it into a different existence. Whether it's, to your point, using alternate dimensions, or just someone using a teleportation circle and poofs to the moon, like one or the other, right?
Yeah, another thing that I've almost done in the past was broken reality with the campaign the campaign world that you guys are in, but before either of you were playing in it, Terry was a part of it. They went back in time and accidentally nearly met themselves as they were about to go off on the quest, and they missed each other by like 20 minutes. I was tracking out the calendar, and if they had met that, I'm going to declare paradox and start the campaign over. Right?
Was it the campaign that I was in?
The last session that we
campaign.
did, that campaign.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yeah, so that one was...
I was like, I could have met myself?
No.
How awful would have that been?
Whose turn is it to roll? I think it was just me.
I think it's me. Yeah. I'm gonna do a black guy.
Okay, we have rolled. All the ones are up right now.
It's true.
So,
That's ultimate fail.
Andris now 14 asks, how would you change lycanthropy to be more challenging for players?
I mean, if you do enough, it's challenging enough already. What do you mean? Like,
well, the problem is at this point is you can just cast remove curse and boop, it's done.
Sure, but I mean, how? I don't think I've ever had a player take that spell.
No, but I mean, you can go find. It should be available at just about any medium level temple. Hags should be able to do it. Like there should be someone nearby that can remove it.
At that point, I would just do it like if it's been X amount of time, it needs to remove curse. If it's longer than that, you need to do greater restoration. If it's longer than that, you need to do a wish. It's just simple.
Has anybody played Elder Scrolls and accidentally turned themselves into a vampire and had to do the quest to unvampire themselves?
No.
It's fucking awful.
Good.
It
should be.
And being a vampire in that game is awful. Like, it's the worst thing on the planet. So
do you sparkle?
You don't sparkle, and you do die when the sun comes out.
Good.
It's just horrendous. And everybody hates you. If you walk into someone's house, there's no niceries, there's nothing. You are murdered. And it's just a terrible... Anyways, the quest to get rid of it is just hell in a handbag. So I feel like if someone was... Like, if we wanted to have the ability to make it harder to remove the curse, I would just make it a giant long-ass quest that then gives you the ability to remove the curse. I don't feel like I would let the spell just poof it out. Yeah.
Honestly, when it comes to lycanthropy, because lycanthropy isn't just werewolves, it's were-rats and were-bats and were-tigers and...
Llamas, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like depending on what the animal is, depending on the transformation... Have you transformed? Have you met a full moon yet? I bet it's easier to undo before you have your first transformation.
True enough.
Right? Have you given into that alignment that you shift into, right?
Yeah.
Because if you are suddenly chaotic evil and murder a bunch of people, you've given into that, it's going to be harder to break that curse. Yeah. So I would add, not only do they have to cast remove curse, but you also have to make a significantly difficult constitution check.
Simple blood sacrifice, perhaps.
Oh, whatever it takes. But maybe you have to kill one of the animals that is, like, if you're a were-tiger, you have to sacrifice a tiger as part of this. So now you got to go hunt one. Like, I would add these additional things, or just a constitution check or save. Like, they're going to cast remove curse on you. You then have to do your part to shake it off. All right. The same way that you do a concentration check. Right. Something like that. I would also probably say the longer that you've been in it, the harder it is to shake, to the point where eventually you just are that.
Well, I also feel like the problem applies to the fact that if your team is fighting someone who is like a werewolf or something, and then the person on your team is like, oh, remove curse, and then they're like no longer. And then like the challenge is gone, right?
It's a real problem that it is so fucking easy in D&D. Honestly, if I were going to sit down and come up with rules, I would remove Lycanthropy to not be a curse anymore, and there would be the spell Lycanthropy. There would be a table attached to what it does, and then you have to be an 8th level spellcaster to be able to remove it, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty fucking high. Not everyone's going to be able to get that, and that takes it from a medium temple to a high-powered capital city temple. And by the way, you're also a werewolf trying to eat the shit out of people on the way.
Have fun.
Yeah, so... Whose turn is it? Oh, yeah, the triple ones. Megan.
Now I'm nervous.
If you need to roll a 20 now.
Okay.
Did we call it?
Did
4.
No, it's a 4.
At Alexander, another Skip Davis asks, favorite gaming celebrities?
Vin Diesel.
Boo.
I've said his name multiple times on this podcast.
Is there a thing we should know about? Is there a little diesel in your engine?
Why not? Doesn't everybody want a little diesel in their engine? Is that not how that works?
I don't know.
How do cars work?
How many strokes is your engine, Dave? He almost answered because he knows the fucking...
So close.
You a 3-stroke kind of boy, Dave?
Is that a thing?
Oh my god.
Okay, so I don't know. Favorite gaming celebrities? I don't pay attention. There are two kinds.
I'm not a big celebrity person either.
No,
so.
there are two kinds of gaming celebrities. There are the people that are celebrities because they game. The Matt Mercer. Trying to come up with another one off the top of my head.
There's the one.
Yeah, that's just the one. No,
There's you. We're famous. Are we not famous enough?
Not quite. Not yet.
Damn it.
And if we ever become famous, we have to kill Terry just so that ego does not take over the world.
He already thinks he's famous.
That's a campaign of its own right there.
No, the people that become famous because of the podcasts are on. It's the McElroy brothers, right?
Yeah.
Who? Okay.
We don't have time to get into it. But then there are the actual celebrities that also play D&D and are nerds as well on the side. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt is one of the D&D nerds out there, which I think is kind of neat. Because in my head, he's still the kid from Third Rock from the Sun. He's not the guy from Looper, right?
Not a serious adult.
Yeah.
Always a child,
Okay.
never an adult.
Yeah.
Looper was the one you went... All right.
What, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Moving on.
All right. Moving on.
It is an
Actually,
interesting
Dave,
choice.
do you have any? No?
No.
Just no.
Just no.
Just
All
no.
right. I'm going to roll on the black table. Another
Critical
one.
fail.
Yeah. All right.
Are you
So
ready?
reroll.
Ones are off the table.
13. TravestyDiner again. These are in alphabetical order. Yeah.
You, huh?
Yeah. If I cast the Friends cantrip as a sorcerer and use a subtle spell metamagic option, will the target still know that I cast the spell? Because it says at the end of the Friends cantrip, as soon as that spell's over, they know it and they could be hostile to you.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was a subtle spell metamagic option, will the target still know that I cast a spell? Or will they just know that someone used magic to influence their decision?
Subtle spell, just you don't...
There's no verbal or somatic.
So I feel like, because they're going to know still. Because it's not about them seeing it. You know, they didn't see you cast a spell and therefore they know.
If you're standing behind them and you cast a spell on them, they didn't see it directly.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, we've had this discussion. No.
The answer is no.
Yeah, it's the fact that... I look at it this way. You ever see the I look Predator, right? Where all of a sudden you go into the Predator head like POV, right? And you can see the
thermodynamics.
Exactly.
HUD.
No, not back then. It wasn't. It's also one of my favorite like Easter eggs from Cloverfield. Was the guy who carries the camera for the whole movie? His name is HUD.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
They call him like Hudson or something. Once at the beginning of the movie, they just call him HUD for the rest of the movie. So anyway, Dave's just rolling his eyes and it's beautiful.
I hate it and I love it.
Yeah. So no, I feel like when you have friends cast upon you, that person glows with thermodynamics or has an aura or something that makes them stand out as being different. Therefore, when it wears off, it's in the spell description that it works that way.
Yeah. I don't think they've got a thing like if you were to cast it on one of two guards, I don't think the other guard would know.
No.
Right?
No. So it's only from your perspective that you would see that this would.
Sure. Okay.
So it's not fairy fire.
Yeah.
But so.
It's also a cantrip. How often are you using it to the point where that's going to be required?
Well, when you never level above level 3, you're going to be relying on it.
If I had a player who was dead set on doing it this way, I would probably make them burn like a higher level spell or something. We'll talk later.
But the answer's probably still no.
Probably still no.
I'll let you make a case.
All right, Dave, roll a die. Stop rolling on the red table. I'm tired of these people. Oh,
Pepperina
fuck.
Sparkle Gem.
Oh,
Who you are tired of.
It's going to be about dragons.
If you were a mimic, what form would you hide as?
Well, Dave, it's your question. Can I just call Codpiece Mimic right now?
Yeah, I was going to say pants.
I thought it was going to be somebody's pants.
Yeah.
Not the belt?
Vin Diesel? Shit, I don't know. I don't know. A car or something? Like, if it was like real life, you know? Yes, get in.
And you just eat them?
Yeah, like, do it willingly. It's easier.
All right.
I'd be a pair of glasses.
Would you?
Yeah.
Eating the eyeballs?
Just constantly being carried around, seeing the world from somebody else's point of view every once in a while. You're constantly getting lost because everybody loses their glasses
Well,
eventually.
your name could be Hudson.
Stop it.
The reference was already made.
I don't know. In the real world, what's something that everybody... Oh, you know what I would be? I'd be one of those crosswalk buttons.
Because you just want to be touched all the time?
Well, because, you know... Thank you, Dave. Jesus. You just touched my fucking Care Bear stare. Fucking... right there. Like mid-mass. I'm very uncomfortable.
So maybe you shouldn't be a crosswalk button.
I've never heard anybody reference their stomach as their And now I need to know what symbol is on your character.
Well, you'll have to write into a mailbag episode to stop that. All right, so... no, like, the idea is that you would sit there essentially dormant all day, and then when there's that one stupid jogger at 4 a.m. that is out there by themselves and it's still dark out, they're going to hit the button, you get to eat them. Because this is all about eating, right? Like,
Oh.
yeah. So that would be, I'd be a crosswalking button. Whose turn is this? Rescue me from this shit.
Is that
Megan,
on your
roll a
Care
die.
Bear stare, though? I will do... Table. Oh, I gotta make my soul. 2. It's already been rolled, hey?
Yes.
4. Oh, it's a low one.
Elam Garrick 2020 asks, still my favorite name for anybody that writes in.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. How do I break up with someone? What I mean to ask is, how do I ask players to leave my table if I have too many? I am most comfortable DMing for 4 players, but I have 8.
Ooh.
Some of them don't contribute to the group. They turn up for sessions and then just sit around on their phones. How do I ask them to step out of our campaign without damaging our friendship?
This is when you have those serious conversations with your friends.
This is when, I'm not kidding when I say this, every once in a while one of these questions comes up and Terry just puts his hands up, like palms out, so Dan and I will be quiet. He's like, all right, I got this. And he leans in and drops Uncle Terry knowledge on us, and it's always decent, but it makes me uncomfortable when he like you can see him like loosening his tie, his imaginary tie, and go, all right, it's time to get real now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, all right, Megan, drop the truth bombs.
The truth bombs? I feel like if you are friends enough, you should be close enough that having a serious conversation with them would be easy enough to have. And it could be just along the lines of, are you enjoying yourself? If not, would you like to wait until there's a campaign where we're doing a theme that you would be more interested in? You seem to be disengaged. Just have those conversations with your friends.
And honestly, I would have it be a public conversation around the table, or I'm not going to single someone out necessarily, but say, hey guys, this is unwieldy for me. Mm-hmm. You guys are clearly not having as much fun as possible. Can we split off a second group?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only thing I would add to that is that someone else wants to DM.
Clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 8 players is too much.
That is far too many. Like,
my L5R campaign was 10, and we played online.
How did you manage?
So the DM did a really good thing where everybody got like 2 turns per game, basically. Yeah. And you got to choose who you spoke to, and if it was an NPC or another player, you got to basically choose 2 scenes that you got to play out. Because it was very role-playing heavy. If you fight in that game, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. So it's very role-play-esque. So you get 2 scenes, we do a round robin, and then if you're involved in somebody else's scene, you get some extra play time, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
So, and it worked out really well for that style of game, but it would not have worked for D&D in any way, shape, or form. And even that DM playing in that got exhausted. And he did end up having the conversation of we're splitting it off. Like we're doing smaller stories, shorter storylines, smaller tables. And then we just had that conversation as a team and said, yeah, we're happy to do that. So
can you imagine the sheer amount of prep work it would take just to change? If you are running a module at one of the published books that is balanced for a 4-person party, that is a shit ton of extra legwork to do. That is because as I've noticed, the moment you add a 6th player, you are doing exponential work. So it's double what 5 is.
Yeah.
Right? And 7 is double what 6 is. And 8 is double what 7 is. So it's getting out of fucking control. I can handle 5 all right. I don't like to... I've got 6 right now. It stresses me.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, so I think if you're not ready to have the conversation of calling somebody out on the fact that they're not engaged and that's the part that's frustrating you, just play on the fact that the table's too large.
Yeah, which, like, clearly is the correct answer there. We spoke about that way back in, like, episode 9. Pull them aside, have a conversation. Be like, get in or get out, but close the fucking door, right? Like, don't just sit there and waste our fucking time.
Yeah.
So, because their time is being wasted, too. And they will be happier being more productive or being engaged and being a part of it. Because I'm sure that if he had 8 engaged players, this wouldn't be an issue.
I feel like if we had 8 engaged players, it would be a lot of yelling at that table.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like I imagine the balance almost that you have some engaged, some not engaged.
That's when you have the talking stick. You're only allowed to speak when you're holding the stick.
Well, that's why we did scenes.
That would not work.
You would just start throwing a stick at people.
Yeah. Someone would get hit
That's
with
when the
stick.
pigeon comes out.
Speak, bitch!
Okay, so for those who don't know...
No, leave it there.
All right, fine. Yeah, that's what... And that was when the pigeon came out. White table. 18.
18.
Rolled it. I am
Yeah.
just shit at this today. 20.
Oh, 20. Okay. Miklos pal Marton Molnar from YouTube says, on the matter of great old one warlock, what about embracing the patron, being its avatar and prophet, not being a public speaker, but by being nice to others and converting them to madness? Tie a creature down, use charm on them, last 1 hour, no concentration. Use detect thoughts and telepathy to communicate, or want information, ask questions, get advantage on rolls, and read what pops into their head.
Being their avatar, and that's just a super powered great old one, or warlock, right? That's...
Yeah.
Yes, you can embrace the patron, right? You can go that extra mile and use these powers that are clearly designed to be used one way. You can always work it to fit your own unique flavor of how you want to do it. I've always wanted to be a bard who doesn't sing but does insult stand-up comedy.
Oh yeah, I was like
Right.
stand-up comedian.
Yeah, so I just think that would be so much fun to do, because you're cutting words and shit is just you mocking the goblins. And be like, oh, and I thought all goblins were short. And then they take fucking 1d6 damage. or whatever.
Beholder, I hardly knew her.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop
So-
it. I hate everything about what you just said. You need
Take
to
my familiar, please. Right? Like, it's...
I hate everything about this.
Like, I so want to play that character. So playing like an evangelist level warlock is amazing, and I love the idea of doing that. There's nothing saying that you can't think outside the box on this shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of doing it though and just doing it wrong. Like you're just really bad at it.
I feel like that's every one of Dan's characters that he ever makes, is he has this brilliant idea for it, and then he purposefully plays them wrong.
Oh, I just always play characters that yell at him for it, though. I think that's the only reason why it comes out that way.
I think he likes being yelled at.
Yeah.
No, are you sure those are characters, Megan?
I mean, I do like yelling at people.
Who rolled that shit? I rolled that shit.
You rolled that.
All right. Dave,
All right, I will.
stop rolling on the red table.
Why?
Because it's all the same
Go for
four
it.
idiots.
I'm here for it.
All right, what idiot are we getting now?
14. Avatar Idalia.
Oh, not an idiot. She made us a cake once.
Well, here we go. Once quarantine is over, what kind of cake do you want?
Oh, what kind of cake was it last time?
Delicious. It was like,
Yes, I just ate it and it was wonderful.
there was a giant like fondant mimic on the top of it.
Oh my
and
God.
I mostly ate that and then went home and did one of these oh god, it hurts moments for about
Well,
3
I-
Please don't ever make that noise referencing when you're home afterwards.
I'm sorry, Mika.
Hot cake?
Yeah,
I hate cake.
I know you do.
Why do you hate cake?
Because it's not good.
It's just sugar bread.
Give me a pie. Like,
Oh.
specifically key lime. All right? Every key lime pie, the worst key lime pie is better than the best cake.
I do love a good key lime pie.
I will say this though, this is Crystal, our friend. She is an amazing chef, baker, cook. I don't even know what the word is anymore because I'm now thinking about fondant.
Cake provider.
Cake provider.
Give us a pie that looks like a cake.
Cake wizard. She is a cake wizard.
Or a cake that looks like a pie, so it
A
fools
cake,
Dave.
yes, that is what I want. A cake that looks like a pie, so it fools Dave.
Damn you.
It's a mimic. Megan, what do you got for us?
All right, I'm gonna roll a white dice. That is a 9. Why do I always get the long ones? I'm really bad at reading.
Half of these are long ones. I've got a fucking monster.
I like
on
this
my-
one's name
my
though.
table.
Internal Management. 10 on Reddit says. 5th edition. It supplements and campaigns. Has almost exclusively focused on Forgotten Realms as its default setting and focus. What pros and cons do you feel this has? If you were to pick a different published setting from the game's history, like Greyhawk, Kryn, Wildmount, etc., which would you want to see used as the basis for monster manuals and backdrop for story modules?
Eberron.
Yeah, well, we have Dave's.
I'm just getting it out of the way now. Moving on.
Yeah, all right, Megan, what do you think?
Honestly, this is not a question I really have the knowledge to answer.
Yeah, when I'll tell you this right now. Okay, so the pros and cons of doing it from the Forgotten Realms is that the Forgotten Realms has deep history and lore. It actually covers pretty much everything you're going to need except like space flight and steampunk and the magic punk of Eberron. We always call it steampunk, but it isn't. It's
Isn't
magic
Eberron
punk.
steampunk?
No, it's magic punk. But
There's a spaceship in Forgotten Realms.
yes, there are a couple. There are actually like a number of them, but it's not heavy into that sci-fi feel. But it's generic. You can do like sword and sorcery. You can do sword and board fighting. You can do high magic or low magic or whatever you want, depending on your location in it. You have a million different cults. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of remote, weird locations to go through. And the reason it's called the Forgotten Realms is because it's been civilizations built upon long forgotten civilizations that were themselves built upon long forgotten civilizations, and so on and so forth, all the way back through history to beyond what people remember. So there's a lot of good from the Forgotten Realms. The con is that it is so well documented that they haven't bothered to document it for 5th edition. So people are completely fucking blind about what it actually is to play in the Forgotten Realms, because they will play in Icewind Dale, which is generic cold, or Waterdeep, which is generic city. Even though there's a lot of flavor and history here, they just didn't give us that flavor or history. They're expecting you to do your online wiki research or find someone that has, old 3.5 books. There was an entire series of books that were devoted to the Forgotten Realms. Like twice a year, they would give you an entire campaign module, Forgotten Realms only. And it was fantastic. It was great. That was when 3.5 was doing all that crazy bloat. Yeah. But for me personally, if you're not going to do the Forgotten Realms, you have to do Greyhawk, because none of the rest of them are as varied in
They all
their
do
setting.
one thing good.
Yeah,
Well,
Dark Sun is amazing for what it does, right? The Spelljammer is amazing for what it does. Dragonlance is amazing for what it does.
even
but
Theros and Ravnica were great for what they were supposed to do.
yeah, but these are little bites. They're flavors. They're not a whole world you can build an entire multi-year campaigns, multi-module system based around. The monster manual for... I wish it'd give us a full monster manual that would include... they're going to do a re-release of all the shit in 2024.
Yeah.
Right? I want them to have, for every one of them, in the lore section for every fucking monster, one paragraph of what is different between the Forgotten Realms one and the one in Eberron, the one in Dark Sun, the one in and Greyhawk, the one in... And they just list it. So there's a half page of when you're using goblins here, they are different. Now they're neutral good, or they're barbarian tribes, or they're whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
And do it that way. I want a comprehensive series of monster manuals that is going to give that to us. But otherwise, Forgotten Realms is the default fantasy setting, because you can plunk any one of those pieces of information into any other setting and you're not going to break it. You can't do that with the stuff in Eberron. There's too many.
God, no.
There's too many weird shit from the Dreamlands, and you can't do that from Theros because they're all based around the gods. But you can do that from the Forgotten Realms. So, yeah, I agree. It's a little too cookie cutter for my taste. I think the dragons and the beholders and the aboleths suck in 5th edition, but they're cookie cutter enough that anyone can use them, and that's a pro.
I feel that's my curse though, because I started on 4th and 5th edition, so I did not take the time to go back and do any kind of extra research. I just go by what is in my 5th edition manuals.
Yeah, but do you have fun running that the
Heck
way it
yeah.
is? Yeah, so that's a pro. Right? You don't need to do that additional information. They have enough in there for you.
Yes, me as who I am. That's all I need.
Which is for most people, right? Yeah. Who rolled that?
I did.
You rolled that. It's my turn. White table again. No, let's knock off some of this red table nonsense. That is a 16.
Pepperina Sparkle Gem.
Fantastic.
Shit.
What is your favorite homebrew rule?
My favorite homebrew rule, it has worked well for me and everything, is that a health potion is based on your hit dice plus your constitution.
Smart.
I like that. Yeah.
There's
You know what? Stolen.
Yeah, that just needs to. It keeps it fair, right? It's magical anyway, so I don't need to justify this with ingredients and shit. It just is a potential percentage of your hit points.
Yeah, I like it. It's easy, simple.
Yeah, what's yours?
I like the whole, and I guess it was a variant rule, but we have always done 3 20s in a row is an automatic kill.
Oh,
Doesn't
really?
matter who you are. Yeah,
It's like getting a turkey in bowling.
the dice have spoken.
Yeah, they said they must
Right?
die.
And I mean, we came up with that because in 3.5, when you critical, you have to confirm your critical. Okay, so you got to roll it again. And if you got another 20, then everything stops. And that bonus third roll happens. And you see if it's successful, which it never has been, except for that one time when I was rolling criticals against a player.
Oh.
And killed a player with that, because like that's the rule, guys.
Hey.
I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And he was fine with it. So.
Yeah, that has to be the way it is. With the exception of crit tables, if a player can do it, an NPC can do it.
Yep.
I don't let crit tables that would just create fucking madness, right? But I agree with you on that. Plus, the math on that breaks down to be you have a 1 in 8,000 chance
Oh yeah, it's
to line that up.
yeah,
So,
infinitesimal.
well, you're going to see it twice in your life,
Yeah.
Yep.
but it'll be fucking memorable.
It'll be great when it happens.
Oh
your
yeah, we
favorite
still
homebrew
joke
rule?
about it.
I have 2 actually, and weirdly both are from Adam's campaigns. One is that when you die, if you come back to life, you have a scar.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool because my character burned to death and then came back to life, and then she just looked awful.
Like a
Yeah.
topographical map of Utah.
It's just not great.
Yeah.
And then the other one is talking about crits, the crit tables that you make that are custom to like the games that we're playing, which is basically if you roll a crit, then you get to roll a crit dice, which gives you an added bonus on top of it. But balanced out by if you crit fail, there's also a crit fail table that makes it be extra terrible happen, which I think adds a fun flavor to the game.
But the big difference between my crit tables and other people's crit tables are you should never, ever, ever die or get an instant kill off of one of these crit tables.
Yeah.
Just as a base.
Yeah.
You should never change the outcome of the fucking game or determine whether or not somebody lives or dies. There may be a couple of outliers in very specific circumstances, but I don't like this. Oh, you rolled a 1 on your crit fail table, you die. Or like you rolled a 10, you bury your weapon in the back of the skull of your nearest ally. Like what the fuck are you doing?
Mine was when Dan shot my character in the leg with a crit and her leg got lobbed off.
that has since been removed from the crit tables because that was the second time that it happened in one of my
From
campaigns.
a PC to a PC, which
Yeah.
was a great time for everybody.
Well, because only PCs can roll on my crit tables,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So, yeah, when it's PvP, some shit's
We said
gonna
yes
happen.
to PvP, and I regret it because I lost a leg. But that's fine. Was it me?
I think it's me
No,
now.
yeah, it's Dave.
Okay.
Let's do that one. Black table number 8.
M.V.Willems asks, if Wizards came out with a Norse campaign setting, what could it be? And what would the big bad evil guy be?
Fenrir.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a lot about it.
I mean, Jormungandr could
Would
be
be
up there.
dope.
Yeah, it's the fucking snake that swallows the world.
I did build a Norse world
I
at
know
one
you
point
did.
a long time ago, but it was very much based on like cults following pantheons, and then like
Well, the Norse pantheon is listed as a viable pantheon in the player's handbook. so-
yeah.
Honestly, I'd probably just look at how Theros does it and just reskin the gods to be Norse instead of.
They feel more Greek to me than anything. I mean,
Yeah.
You could reskin it, but I want that snow. I'd put a whole lot of emphasis on giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
I think it's entirely viable. I think you need to do your own campaign setting for it to make it properly work, and it would be nomadic, barbarian, ranger.
You're basically making God of War. This is what we're making right now. Like,
Well, you know what? I guess, right? Like, to a certain degree. The Norse mythology is, wonderful and rich and untapped as far as, like, pop culture has dug into it. Like, everybody knows the Egyptian gods. Everybody knows the Greek gods. And most people know the Romans, especially if you know your planets, right? Like, there's a lot of that. There's not a whole lot for Norse gods out there by comparison. However, the fact that they've been co-opted by a lot of the hate groups down in the south, that's like Sons of Odin and shit, are just like, it's not something I want
it's
to
like
be
thanks for
associated
ruining
with.
a good thing.
Yeah.
Love that for us.
So I'd be careful about running cults in that fucking.
Damn it.
Yeah. Whose turn is it? Now it's your turn.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. Let's just do more of these.
More red.
Yeah.
Let's just get rid of these.
8.
We have hit only even numbers. We've done 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18 on the red table.
Literally.
But no, that's the first time that we've
Okay.
seen. Yeah.
All right.
Fighty Rich, out of all Wizards of the Coast NPCs, which one is your favorite and why?
You were on the NPC episode, so there were a fuck ton of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't even remember what my answer was during that episode. That's where
Oh, we
I'm at
were
right
so
now.
burned out by the end of that episode. There was so much happening.
We did
in
go
that
through
one.
a lot that day. One of you can answer first. I'll think about it.
My favorite NPC from a Wizards of the Coast product is probably going to be from Eberron, and it's going to be the Daughters of Sorakel. I fucking love me some hags.
You do love hags.
I fucking love hags.
Have a good summer.
and those three run a country, Megan, for monsters, and it functions better than all the other ones
Yeah.
because they've got the right monsters with the right set of skills doing the right things. And so it like thrives as a nation, and it like pisses off all of the fucking
Oh, yeah, they're trying to
bipeds
become
and humanoids.
the 13th nation on the continent. And like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, remember when we were doing Touring the Multiverse, Dave, and I said, you notice everything's in groups of 13, there's 13 nations, there were 13 houses with dragon marks, there were 13, there was all of this all the way through. Do you know why 13 is a thing?
why?
This is a legit reason that one of the YouTube comments told me about. I've been waiting for this
Just
to
to
come
screw
up.
with people who have triskaidekaphobia or whatever the hell
No,
it is?
no, because who wrote Eberron?
Oh my god, it's a baker's dozen.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh my god!
That is exactly 100% why, because it is the baker's
That's
dozen.
bullshit and I love
Because
it.
Keith Baker wrote Eberron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Huh.
So,
right.
so who's your favorite NPC then, Dave? What do you think?
I don't know. Not all of them. A lot of them have just very like particular things they do.
A lot of them
Right,
are one-trick ponies.
I mean, I like the guy, Hadar, who decided to sit down and make a spell that is just like a bitch slap repeatedly. Just
Yeah.
right, like
The arms of Hadar.
I appreciate that someone sat down and figured that out.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know?
gonna math this out and see how
Like
much
that
how
guy,
bad this winter.
I want to buy him a beer. Okay.
Yeah, you should probably buy him dinner because I hear he's hungry too.
just yeah. I don't have a favorite.
No, you don't
honestly.
have a favorite?
I don't. Like,
Honestly, I think probably overall my favorite is Durnan from the Forgotten Realms.
yeah.
Just because you can use him in everything. He doesn't, like, I've never been able to figure out what
He's
his last
the
name is.
barkeep at the
At,
Yawning Portal.
Yeah, and he's like low-key ex-adventurer with a crazy legendary weapon.
He knows some shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
he has seen some shit. You know that he is probably immortal and like undercover.
Bartender, bouncer, whole 9 yards.
Yeah, like Durnan has got some mystery to him.
He's
and
probably
I like
not actually a single person.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just,
Three kobolds in a trench coat.
just constantly using
That
the
is
name.
canon now. Yes.
I think you can actually get those stats in Icewind Dale because they have that as a thing that happens as kobolds in Winterwear.
I love this, and I need it in a campaign somewhere for me to enjoy.
All right, so I'm going to roll on the black table.
All right.
Which is me talking to myself. 13. I already did that one. God damn it. TravestyDiner, you son of a bitch.
It's a travesty.
Yeah. 7. So this is Matthew Easterling. Every time that he writes into us, Terry says it's Matt the Weasterling. And I fucking love it. He asks, who is laying down that fat bass line in the podcast intro? That would be Corey. We actually credit him in the show notes of every episode. Thanks for not reading the show notes, dick. Corey is one of Dan's oldest and one of his good friends, and they I think they used to jam together. Dan plays the bass as well, so that's kind of the connection that they have.
Band nerds.
Yeah, and so way back when we were thinking about It's a Mimic and starting it up, I wanted something a little bit funky for a bass line, something that would be distinct from the standard, fantasy shit that everybody else was doing on their podcast. So I'm like, give me some funk. I want funk. And he's like, or you're not going to get funk. It's not going to be porn music, but we're going to do something.
That's pretty close.
So, yeah.
Slapping the bass?
Yeah, pretty much. So Dan went away and came back with, I think that was our third try at coming up with an intro. And so he gave us that and the outro music all in one sitting. And I fucking love it.
All right, when did we get to hear the first two?
I think everyone has heard the first one in the background of some commercials. A couple of years ago, we were using it as commercial music for a while. And the second one was, I don't remember why we didn't use it, but
It was just Terry crying into a microphone.
I would listen to that.
Yeah.
On repeat.
Well, we would have included that. Yeah. That would have been transition music 7 or 8 times per episode.
Yes,
so.
it's a soprano edit.
Let me see. What was the other thing? Oh, Corey also gave us the campaign builder music, which we fucking worked that one back and forth with him a bunch. But now we have Tyler, who does all of our music and stuff moving forward. So he's got a whole bunch of audio editing shit that he does. He does all of our Call of Cthulhu.
I was going to say
stuff.
who did our Call of Cthulhu one, because that was really good.
Yeah, that was Tyler, and he did the Touring the Multiverse. And so he's excited about not just doing music, but adding sound effects and shit into it too. And we have him now as one of our editors, and he's doing a great job. He's better at it than I am. So we're pretty fortunate with our audio engineers. The other one that I didn't name drop is Travis, but I'm sure he's not going to listen to this episode because he's not editing it. So fuck you, Travis.
Hey, get out!
Please don't get out,
Please don't
Travis. We
quit.
need you. So he's our actual legit sound engineer. And anytime that we have an episode that is completely destroyed and we have fucked up the audio settings during recording, we're like, Travis, we burned this episode. We got to do a new one. He will then take it, fix it, give it back, and say, all right, so what did we do wrong?
Tell me what went wrong with this one. Thank you.
Yeah, and then he says a bunch of stuff, and I glaze over, and Dan nods like he knows what he's talking about, and then we do it again next week. So who rolled that?
You did.
I rolled that.
You didn't cross it out.
There it is.
Can you
It's
keep
crossed
up?
out.
Thank you.
You know what? I'm tired of you guys already. How many have we done so far?
2, 4, 6, 8.
I've got 6 on mine. That's 14, so that's 18.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on mine.
5. Okay, so that's 19. So
Are you the last question?
we probably didn't actually freaking cross one of these off. No. Yep, that was me. Wop, wop. That was the last question.
No way.
So there we go. That is the end of the episode. That is 20
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm doing another one.
Oh, okay.
5.
That was aggressive.
on the red table.
Alexander Another Skip Davis asks, what edition did you guys all start in? 3.0.
4.
No, I started off in 3.5 and then backtracked to 3.0
Yeah.
and then dabbled in AD&D for a weekend.
Yeah.
And then I think I spent most of my time playing 4th edition until about 4 years ago.
When I started, we were looking at the 3rd edition PHB, which I still have. It's actually up at your house.
Yeah.
And I actually have a big sticky note on it now that says, do not use this one.
Yeah.
But we started with that one, and then we made our characters, and then I think it was Russell was like, oh, hold on, guys. No. 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. So
No, I played, my first campaign was in 4. I didn't really enjoy it. It might have been the people I was playing with. And then I played with another group that backtracked to 3.5. Also didn't enjoy it.
It
Probably
was
the people I was playing with.
so granular.
Yeah. And then 5th edition came out, and then that was when I started to really understand the game and like what the hell I was supposed to be doing with it.
Well, I like to summarize it essentially as being AD&D was for wargamers, more or less. 3 and 3.5 were really for rules lawyers, people that wanted to get really into the rules. Yeah. These are people that wanted to win at D&D.
Wow.
4th edition was they gamified it. It stopped being in feet and started being squares. Everybody had powers and nobody had spells, right? So even fighters had special like superpowers, and so it felt very superhero World of Warcraft kind of feeling to it.
RPGers, yeah.
Yeah, and then 5th edition has been role playing. It's role play heavy. With, by the way, here are some mechanics that'll make sense if you don't look at it, and we don't balance our fucking encounters.
Yeah.
Hi, we're wizards. How are you?
Well, I enjoy the roleplay side of it. So.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think it was the right call. Streamlining everything, and the fact that they're gonna release a brand new like update to the rules and give us, God knows what they're gonna call it, but 5.5 should be coming out around the corner.
Yeah.
Which will complicate the fuck out of this podcast, but we're gonna burn that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. It was,
So.
Yeah, I mean,
By then, I'm going to quit and make this all.
It's a Mimic
Brad's
5.5.
problem,
yeah.
All right, so that wraps up this Mailbag episode. You can reach out to us at any one of the different platforms. We're on Instagram. It's a Mimic there. We have our info at itsamimic.com. Email address, we're at r/itsamimic on Reddit. You can find our It's a Mimic channel on YouTube. And of course, you can harass us on Facebook as well. We will occasionally look at that. But send us more Mailbag episodes. We're always thrilled to get more. We will answer absolutely anything. If you want to hear more about crit tables, I think I actually will post a link about them on the Reddit. I think I already have, but I'll post it again.
Just sticky it for a week or so.
The problem is if I sticky it for a week, then it kicks off one of the other stickies, and we need those.
Can we stop calling sticky it?
No, that's what you need pin on Reddit. Yeah.
Put a pin in it.
But yeah, send us more Mailbag episodes, and you can check out our website at www.itsamimic.com. Thanks for listening. You guys want to do a post-credit thing where you read more?
I just feel like I think you're going to like this one. Andrei Nicolae from YouTube says, nice work, but I want to point out one thing. Stop calling Eberron a steampunky world. There's no steampunk. There's no steam at all. All technology is magic-based, so you could call it magic punk at best. Furthermore, Keith Baker dislikes it when you call it steampunk.
I dislike it when Keith Baker makes Baker's dozen puns. So you know what? We'll call it even, okay?
All right, so Dave got his extra, Megan got her extra.
I want to do another extra.
Okay.
Can I do an extra?
Yeah.
All right. Number 19 here.
This is from like 2.5 years ago. Dave has been salivating over this the entire fucking episode.
A very beautiful human asks...
No.
No, sorry. Coffee Bitch Dave asks, when does he get a damned promotion?
Oh.
When he goddamn fucking earns it. When you step up and edit an episode for a goddamn change.
No.
It's okay, I'm never going to get promoted either. It's okay.
Well, we have at this point Male Slave Brad, which we keep changing the spelling of male depending on how
How you feel that day?
Yeah, Coffee Bitch Dave, who then disappeared for the last like 4 months of recording, so he became Decaf Coffee Bitch Dave.
Oh, I like that.
I'm comfortable with
And
that.
then we also have Totally Normal Megan.
Yes.
Yes, totally.
Totally normal.
Normal.
Don't look her in the
We're going to have to
eye.
get some new names for some of these other people now, too. Like